All right, guys, we really need to have a talk about this before we jump into it. I know I'm going to be replacing the fluid in my Performance LSD. I'm going to show you guys how to do a differential service, but I realize this might be the first time some of you find out that 75W140 exists. And I know this oil is very enticing because we've had a lot of arguments on this channel about oil weight, and most of you believe that the thicker oil is better and you want to go with the thickest oil possible to protect your engine because it gives you better protection. And I must reiterate here, 75W140 is not designed for your engine. The gaps between components inside of your differential and your transmission between the gears is much larger than the space you're going to see between components inside of your engine. And that's why it's able to use such a thick oil. It doesn't have to do with anything other than that. So again, I must reiterate, I know I made the joke on April Fool's Day and somebody else left a comment saying, haha, what if somebody really took your advice? And at first I was laughing, and then I thought that would be a bad thing. So please, please, please do not try to use this in your engine. Outside of that, we're going to go ahead and do a service on my 340i. So hopefully you guys find this video useful.
Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future.
Now, really quick, as far as maintenance intervals, I want to remind you guys that this is typically recommended between 60 to 100,000 miles. From BMW, they'll tell you that it's a lifetime fill. You don't really need to replace it. And for most people, it's not going to be completely catastrophic if you don't replace it. I don't hear about differentials failing left and right. So for most people that are just daily driving their cars, it's probably okay. But this is something where, it's pretty cheap, pretty easy to do, and 60 to 100,000 miles doesn't come up that often. So if you do it that frequently, it'll just help ensure that you have good quality oil protecting the components inside of your differential. Now that's for factory diffs. If you have an LSD like mine, it is recommended every 30 to 40,000 miles. In my case, I just installed the Performance LSD about a year ago now, so I've done 2 track days with it. It actually still has the original oil. I know most people say after 500 miles, you're supposed to break it in. And I did a little bit of a break-in myself. Yeah, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and replace the fluid since I've got some time on it, just for peace of mind, and since extra fluid came with it in the box. And yeah, everything's going to be the same, even if you have the stock differential. The only difference will be the oil weight, which I'll show you when we get under the car. So let's go ahead and change out the diff oil. All right, so the first step is that you need to jack up the car. Make sure that you jack it up on all 4 corners because you need the car to be as level as possible. I'll show you when we get under the car, but on the differential, when you fill it up, the way that you make sure you filled it up enough is you basically fill it until it's overflowing out of the fill hole. So if it's not level, then the hole won't be at the right spot at the back of the car. So you could potentially underfill it, overfill it, it basically won't be right. So what I do is I just make sure all 4 of my jack stands are at the same height and put it all down on all 4 so that way the car is as flat as possible. All right, so this is your differential. We are now under the car at the rear, and the problem is there is no drain plug. So what we're going to do is drain everything through this fill plug right here. So this is the tool that we're going to use. It is an extraction pump, and I'll have a link to it down in the video description. It comes with this hose. And then I also separately bought this fitting. I saw it on an FCP Euro video, so I'll have a link to this in the video description as well. But this is a tool that you can basically hook inside of the differential and then use the extraction pump to suck out all the fluid that's inside of there. So really convenient to have this. So this is what I recommend for most people. The other thing is we are going to be filling this up with Castrol 75W140.
This is fluid specifically for an M Performance LSD. If you have an OEM open differential, then this is not the fluid you should be using. Most times I recommend just using OEM fluid, but there are a couple different options if you look them up. So if you can't find OEM fluid, there should be a couple different versions available. But this is approved by BMW for the M Performance LSD. Hopefully you can see this label. All right, so this is the fluid I'm using since I have an LSD. Now let's go ahead and take this off. That drain fitting is a 14mm socket or Allen. So let's go ahead and drain this out.
That's good. Keep going.
Oh, it's on there pretty good. All right, so yeah, not much coming out. Also, they do recommend replacing this fitting. So unfortunately, I didn't buy a replacement, but if you have one, I'll put a part number in the description so you can replace it. So now what we're going to do is stick this in here, shove it all the way in, and then try to suck as much fluid out as possible. There we go. And then I've just got my drain pan down here, so we'll pump it into the drain pan. There we go. You want to try?
Yes, please.
All right, come here. Okay, get under there. So pull it out. Pull, 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 pull. That's good. But yeah, that's your demonstration that it's so easy, a 6-year-old can do it. I think we almost got it all out. I'm about to find out. Let's see.
One full pull. Now. Yeah. You did it too fast.
I think we're just sucking out air.
We got some of it.
Yeah, I think that's all of it. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and fill up with our fluid. And this one kind of has an interesting top that I did not realize. Yeah, but if you take this off and pull straight up, it basically has a spout. So I think I can actually hold this up and squirt it in there. If you don't have a bottle with a fitting like this, that's really convenient. Then of course you're going to have to use your suction pump, put this in there, suck it out, and then squirt it into the differential. But I'm gonna go ahead and try and use this fitting, see if it works the exact same way. I don't think I have enough angle. Oh yeah, squirting some in there. Alright, so I was only able to get about half of each bottle in there, so I reverted to using our suction pump, and this hose, or this little pipe, actually fits inside of the fitting on top of the differential fluid, so you don't even have to open it up, like take off that red cap. Just stick it down the hole, suck it out. Looks like we got most of it. And then pump it in here. Good job. All right, so now that it's overflowing, you let it stop until it's down to a drip, or if you're like me, you want a little extra. So we're gonna go ahead and just put this cap on. There we go. And now you wanna go ahead and tighten down that bolt. I will put a torque spec in the video description for anybody that's interested. I subscribe to the German spec Guten tight, just to make sure it's tight enough that it's in there but not leaking. But use your best judgment here. And then wipe off any excess fluid. And at this point, you're done. Really that simple. Just drain and fill.
So yeah, it's really that simple, almost as easy, if not easier, than doing your engine oil. You just suck out the old fluid, pump in the new fluid, make sure you fill it until, you know, the oil is just dripping out, and then close off your fill plug. So hopefully this gives you guys the information you need to feel comfortable doing this yourself. If you've got jack stands and a little bit of time, this is definitely something that you can knock out every couple of years, every 60 to 100,000 miles, just to make sure that your differential is running as smooth as it should be. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.